Hey, Son of a fans, Brad Denny with 3TV, CBS 5, and the Speak of the Devils podcast here. Welcome back to another episode of the Speak of the Devils Sitdown series, where I bring you in-depth, one-on-one conversations with key players, coaches, and other figures within Sun Devil athletics. There's no place like home, but that doesn't always mean the homecoming is going to go as planned. Last year, DeCarlos Brooks came back to the Valley after playing a few years up at Cal. And when he's on the field, he made his mark, including a 3-touchdown game in a win over Washington State. Unfortunately, injuries kind of plagued him throughout the entire season. He was never able to get fully on track. But in 2024, he's now healthy and aiming to end his career with the title of Hometown Hero. On this episode, DeCarlos and I talk about his journey from Chandler to Cal and back home again, the influence of Shaun Aguano, his favorite wings in the Valley, a loaded Sun Devil backfield in 2024, and so much more. So let's get to it. Here's my conversation with DeCarlos Brooks. All right, DeCarlos, got to start you off with a tough question. What do you think your rating should be in the new EA Sports college football game?
Oh my gosh. This has been like the talk of like probably every locker room all around college football. Me personally, I think I should be around at least in the 80, like low 80s. I think the lowest I should be is 80.
Okay. Is there somebody in that locker room that is right now thinking that they should be, like a 99 or something like that?
Oh yeah, there's people saying they should 92s, 95s, and stuff like that. Like you gotta chill out, but it's gotta be. I think it's really good for college football. Just the whole aspect of it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, is that a game that you used to play as a kid or something that you involved with? Obviously Madden, I know, has been very popular, but now that you guys are having an opportunity, did you ever think one day that, hey, I might be able to be in the game?
Yeah, honestly, once it came out, like 14, I was on it all the time. Me and my brother, we used to play that game all the time. But once they kind of like stopped doing it and it turned over to Madden, it was like, we're probably never gonna get college football ever again, like video game. And then I just so happened to be in college the time that happened, so I'm really blessed to be part of that. I think that's real exciting.
All right, so when you're not out on the gridiron or playing the game, you're also cutting hair, and so obviously you had a great charity event last year. How did you kind of get involved with that and kind of become like maybe the go-to guy?
So honestly, I really started cutting hair around COVID. So that's when I really started like getting into it. Like, I'm gonna start cutting hair. I really started on myself. Messed myself up a few times, that's gotta happen as you learn, because I learned strictly just basically off YouTube. Practice on my brother, practice on myself, and then I started cutting other people, started getting better at it. Started at Cal, I cut a few people at Cal, and then that just kind of transitioned, like, I can be pretty successful with this and stuff like that. When I came back home, came back to ASU, I was talking with some people, and they were like, you should, my loved ones were like, you should like start like an event, like that'd be really cool, just like to give back to your community in a sense. And we started doing that, and it was a huge turnout. I loved it. I'm actually planning on doing another one this summer, so it's gotta be great to do again.
That's really awesome to hear, and if we can help spread the word, that'd be something we'd be happy to do. Your head coach Kenny Dillingham said last year you gave him a cut that he loved it, and that he'd be a return customer. Has he kept to his word?
He has came a few times after that. He likes his cuts very quick though, so he's like very like, I want my cut like in 5-10 minutes. I'm like, I can't. Dude, I like to take my time, so like that's when our controversy he was like, okay. Like, he's a busy guy, so I don't really blame him and stuff like that. He wants to be in and out, but like I like to take my time and stuff like that. So
yeah, you can't rush an artist, at their craft. No way.
Right.
So obviously, first got to ask you, how you feeling? You battling some injuries last year. How are you feeling right now during the winter off-season program?
Yeah, body feels good right now. That was just the main focus for me, honestly. This whole off season is just making sure I maintain my body. I feel like my play was good when I was on the field. It was just the injuries that happened to, push me back a little bit. So the whole premise of this year is just to keep my body healthy, get faster, get stronger in the weight room and on the field, and those type of things, to just listen to how my body feels and just make it to the season.
With the team in the flow of the winter workout and off-season conditioning program, What's your overall read and kind of on the vibe of this program? Last year you were a newcomer amongst many new faces. Now this year, kind of the same thing. A lot of new faces right there. How do you feel this team's coming together right now? As you guys are all hard at work?
I would say the word is like hungry. I feel like a lot of the guys are hungry right now to go out there and work and prove themselves, just like the new guys last year. And I feel like the team is gelled a lot quicker. Um, they did in years prior because we had so many new guys come in last year, so they know the feeling of, hey, like I'm the new guy around the block. So they know that feeling. So everybody kind of like embraced each other. Like as soon as the new guys this year started coming in, and I think it's been really good around the whole locker room.
As somebody who made that move a year ago, kind of after a few years at one place, making the jump to another spot, what was some of the advice or some of the things that you've kind of helped this year's crop of newcomers to kind of get in the flow of things?
I would just tell them like stay focused on um, like keep the main thing the main thing. Like you came here to prove something. A lot of the new guys, a lot of the guys that came from other schools, they came to prove something because they felt like at other school they couldn't do what they wanted to do. So like keep the main thing, and focus on the playbook. Focus on getting strong in the weight room, getting faster on the field. Don't let all the Arizona extracurriculars like distract you from what the main goal is at the end of the day.
Of course, got to ask, how's the team doing? Because you guys are having fun. 10 teams go battling it out during this competition as well. How's your squad doing?
I think right now we're in sixth or fifth. Like that's our. I think we're like in sixth, stuff like that. So we're in the middle of the pack. We get in there. We had a couple guys hurt, so we couldn't have our full potential yet as a team. But like we gonna get there. I'm really not worried about it. Honestly, I'm really not.
What's been the focus of your off-season work? What are the things that specifically that you've been looking at for yourself that you really wanted to attack this off-season to prepare yourself for 2024?
Honestly, just getting better all around. I honestly I felt like I was strong. I feel like I need to work on my speed a little bit more. Just working on little things, just like football wise, just doing more cone drills after practice and after workouts and stuff like that. And but anything like I can get more catching in and stuff like that with the quarterbacks, things of that nature. Just like get better as an all around player, honestly.
So when you look back at this 2023 season, your first as a Sun Devil, of course, you mentioned just the injury bug was kind of hitting you, throughout the course of the season. How did you kind of deal with just the frustrations? Obviously, you're coming back home, you want to make a big splash. When you are out there, you're having great success and, very impressive showings out there, but just not being able to get out there consistently. How did you deal with those frustrations?
Yeah, man, it was just I really leaned on my family a lot. I leaned on my family, leaned on the coaches telling me like, hey, everything's gotta be okay. Like you don't have to stress too much because I was like in my head a little bit like, like I might not come back this season. What if I don't? What if it's the injuries too much, this and the third? So they just told me like, keep your head up, like you're gonna be fine. And the game I came back against Washington, like I was I was nervous, but I just like I didn't want to let the team down in a sense, especially against a team like Washington at that time. But like at the end of the game, I felt like I did really good, and the final game after that against Washington State game, that was one of my better games, and that just like even pushed me more. Like okay, like I got this. Like when I'm on the field, like I could really help the team, and I think that's what a lot of players, a lot of coaches seeing as well.
Yeah, that Washington State game with 3 touchdowns. What did that just kind of mean for you? Obviously, just in maybe the micro scheme of a kind of injury plagued season, but just overall, just to be able to get there, have that success, and most importantly, having those touchdowns result in a victory for you guys.
Honestly, I feel like it was like for me personally, it was like a relief because I know what I'm capable of, and I know I put in the work in practice, in and out of practice, in the offseason, stuff like that. So like, it wasn't surprising to me, but it was just like a big sigh of relief, like like I got something going now. It's like keep on building, keep on stacking the days, keep on stacking the games and stuff like that. And it felt really good just to get a win at home, especially against a conference opponent and stuff like that. So it was a really good game, really good feeling around the locker room, and I was really grateful for it.
When you were out there, you had a really good, effective 1-2 punch with Cam. What was that like? Just working that 1-2 punch, just like the defenses were kind of kept off base, and you guys brought a lot of power and you ran over, left a lot of dudes in your wake.
It felt pretty good. Like me and Scat, like we just complement each other very well. Just like I know when I'm in that Cam knows when I'm in, like it's going to be like he's fine. Like he doesn't have to worry about the offense not moving or anything like that. And the same vice versa. I know when he's in, every time he gets the ball, he's at least got to get 4 or 5 yards. Like just off how physical he runs, and we have similar running styles and stuff like that. So like every time we're in, he's like, okay, like I trust him too. So we're gonna score this drive, and it's just like that vice versa thing. It just feels really good.
Does your throwing arm compare to Scat's? Obviously, maybe perhaps if you were out there a little bit more, would you have gotten the call and throw around in some of the more creative dilly schemes?
No, they're not gonna let me pass it. I mean, I tried. We auditioned and stuff like that. It wasn't the tightest spiral, and they're real picky. Coaches are real picky. They're kind of like, so I'm not gonna judge them. But no, my ball's not as good as Scats. I can punt though. I can punt pretty good. So I don't know. We'll see
Okay.
if I can be in that mix too. But we'll see.
Overall, just individually, as you touched on, with just the injuries, but overall, the team had so much thrown at them. A lot of stuff that was, a lot of external stuff, a lot of stuff beyond the team's control, just for kind of overall a difficult year. What were some of the lessons that you took from those experiences, that adversity, that you feel have kind of prepared you and perhaps your teammates for better success in the future?
I would just say just use that fuel. Use that all the frustrations you have from last year, all the frustrations with the injury bugs, with the losses, just the frustration and just losing and stuff like that. Just use all that to fuel you for this off season, going into this next season, and just internalize that. And then that's basically like the whole premise, like the whole fuel behind a lot of things that we're doing right now, because we have to set the standard so much higher than we did last year.
I want to go back to the start of your football journey. Obviously, your dad had time in the NFL. What was it like, just kind of growing up in, a football household? And was he the kind of conduit that got you got you playing football?
So originally, my dad actually did not want me to play football. He wanted me to play baseball. Um, it was because I used to play football all the time at recess, like as a little kid, like first kindergarten, first, second grade, and stuff like that. And I just used to beat all the kids at recess, and I was like, I'm kind of good at this. Like this is fun, and all my friends, like the neighborhood and stuff like that, they were playing football at the time. So I was like, yeah, like pops, I want to play football, and then he's like, let's try baseball first, then like baseball. So transitional football, and then the very first practice, he because he was actually coaching at the time. And he pinned me against like the two biggest kids on the team. Like I was maybe like 80, 70 pounds at the time, and he put me against like kids that were like maybe like 120 or something like that. And I got hit by both of them, and I got knocked on my back. And he thought I was gonna quit after that, but I kept on getting back up. And at the end of the practice, I was like, I still want to play, and then I kept on playing football ever since.
Do you remember your first touchdown?
I do. I actually do remember my first touchdown. It was a pitch play. I caught it and I ran to both sidelines. I think it was like twice. I ended up scoring. It was something crazy like that. You see that all the time in like pee wee football. Kids just running around. I was like one of those running around kids.
When did you know that you were good enough that football could perhaps take you places, maybe college and perhaps beyond?
Um, that's a good question. I would say maybe around seventh, eighth grade is when I was like, okay, like I want to make this like a career. Like this is what I want to do. I would say around seventh grade is when I started thinking that, because that's when I started thinking about high school. And then that's when I started looking at college football and seeing guys in college and stuff like that, and all these schools and all that, and then watching the NFL combine like today and stuff like that. So things of that nature, that's when I really started thinking.
And then, of course, you go to Chandler, and a certain gentleman has a pretty significant impact on your career and path, and the Shaun Aguano. What has he been able to do in terms of obviously just the high school career, now reuniting here in Tempe as a Sun Devil, as your position coach? How impactful has Coach Aguano been on you and your journey?
Yeah, Coach Aguano's been a huge influence on even me just being here or just in general with my whole football career. Like he's really helped me develop into a football player and then just an overall good person at the end of the day. Just going to Chandler and him moved me up to varsity my sophomore year and stuff like that. Like I still remember those times and those practices where he was at head coach. So yeah, it's a really good feeling having him here at ASU and coaching me on just like the little things that help me get to even to that next level that I want to go to.
Where have you seen kind of maybe his evolution as a coach from back in your high school days to now here as a Sun Devil?
He's a lot more talkative. That's like the biggest thing I would take. Like before he would say, because he was a head coach, it might just because he was a head coach and I was like a high school player, so I wasn't like I was more with the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, stuff like that. But he has a really good football IQ. Like before he was just like, calling plays and I didn't really see it before. But now like being in the room with him and actually like learning things from a football aspect of just being a running back, I'm like, okay, like he knows what he's talking about, and he's like a professional with this now.
So when you're starting to get some offers out there, back then ASU's involvement with the local recruiting was not nearly where it is today. Not getting an offer, with ASU being slow during that time. Did that sting a little bit, just like the hometown school, just perhaps not putting a priority on you and many other local players as well?
It did, especially since even the state championship game that we had was at ASU, and I feel like I did good in that game as well. Uh, I mean, you always want to be a hometown hero. That's what everybody talks about, being the hometown hero, being the hometown hero. So, uh, I mean, it did sting a little bit, but at the same time, like I didn't really think about it too much. I think this is a funny story though, because I would tell nobody about this, but the time that I was going to sign my letter of intent to Cal, that's when Coach Aguano was getting the job for ASU. And like I was just hearing about it and stuff like that. He came up to me after I already signed everything like that. Like I wasn't going nowhere, but he came up to me. He's like, you sure? You sure you want to go here? And I was just like, yeah, coach. Like, hey, I'm sure I want to go here. He's like, okay, okay. He's like, because I gave you a fake letter, right? I was like, you funny. So I thought that was funny. And then it's crazy how everything kind of just comes full circle because it's just crazy.
And then, of course, you head up to Cal and have some success there. What were some of the big lessons you took away from your time as a Golden Bear?
I would just say, be resilient. Like stay focused on just like the little things. I think a lot of people, a lot of freshmen, especially going into college football, 17, 18 years old, they get caught up in like the outside things of football, just in general. I think I've learned to mature and like focus on like keep the main thing. Like I said before, um, I think that's something a lot of freshmen have to focus on and look forward to when they go into college because a lot of these guys are coming away from their homes, away from their families and friends and stuff like that for the very first time in their lives. So you got to grow up quick, especially depending on the area you're at. But yeah, that's one of the biggest lessons I took away from it.
During your time up there in the Pac-12 North, did you keep maybe like one eye on ASU, especially since you mentioned like that was just about the time when your high school coach got there?
I never looked at it like that, but honestly, I made sure I always kept relations with coaches that have helped me out and stuff like even my high school coaches. Like I kept in contact with them, just like to keep good relations because you never know, where they're gonna end up and what's gonna happen, stuff like that. So especially with Coach Aguano, he would check up on me and just say, "Hi, hey, how you doing?" From time to time, and just like check them, and just not even on the football aspect, just like the life aspect, make sure everybody's okay, dad's good, mom's good, things of that nature.
So nowadays, since Kenny's taken over, they've really put a priority on reestablishing the relationships and the connections with the local high school football players, coaches, community in general. What's it like as a homegrown guy to see your school now just kind of, recognize the importance of those relationships and those players?
Yeah, I think Activate the Valley is like a very simple but very effective, impactful concept that Coach Dillingham has brought into just the Valley. Because I mean, why wouldn't you want the best guys in Arizona to come to, their hometown? Like, if I had the chance to go to ASU, like off the rip, like it would definitely be one of my top decisions. Honestly, like coming out of high school, so I think him establishing that, like Activate the Valley, like get the best guys opportunity to come here and play here in front of their family and friends is very impactful and something that's going to impact just the whole valley in general.
So obviously you're back here now, and being able to play in front of your family, your friends and family locally. What are some of the other things that have just been really good of just about being back home, being back in the valley?
I would just say, like, honestly, just being comfortable with like where I'm at. Like I can go anywhere without having to GPS anything, or like just like go around, like everything just like home and stuff like that. You're just familiar with family and friends. But I've been in college long enough also to know like I still have to get focused. A lot of people get comfortable, get complacent, like being home, because that's just what they're being comfortable with. You can go home and you can go home to your parents and have a cooked meal and chill out and play video games all day, things of that nature. Like you can't really do that if you go out of state. So um, it's definitely feels good being home, but I honestly just like kept the main thing. The main thing is stay focused and just stayed humble throughout the whole process.
Now that you're back, what were some of the valley food spots that you missed while up at Cal that you've been able to hit back up again?
I think the first spot I hit when I first came here was ATL Wings. That was the first spot I hit. There was another one. I forget the other one, but I definitely went to ATL Wings. That was one of my favorite spots going into high school. Like we would either drive there every lunch or walk there every lunch and get some wings from over there. So I definitely miss ATL.
So what have you noticed now that Kenny has 1 year under his belt as a head coach at a major college football level, a year that included so much adversity from you guys. When you're watching your head coach, as he's trying to get used to the role and leading his alma mater with that extra layer of pressure, what kind of jumped out about Kenny Dillingham as the face of Sun Devil football?
I would say is just his drive and just how driven in his expectations of what he wanted for the program. Like he embodies like, okay, this is something that like I want to do, not just because of the money, not just because of um, you know, what everybody else wants me to do. Like I want to be here because this is like home to me and I want to get these kids to the places they want to get to. Like that's something I got from him. Like he's probably one of the most personable coaches I've ever met, where he like really tries to build a relationship with you, like outside the locker room or outside the field. So I think that was one of the biggest things that stood out to me as a player being under him for about a year.
Of course, you have a new OC with Marcus Arroyo. Obviously he's just been here a couple months, but a guy with a pretty impressive track record on his belt, leading some pretty powerful offenses. What jumps out about Coach Arroyo and what he wants to do with this Sun Devil offense?
Yeah, I think he's very similar to Coach Dillingham and just like what he wants to do offensively. He just wants to, he wants to start fast. He wants to get out fast, and he wants to do certain things a certain way. He has a certain expectation, just like Coach Dillingham has a certain expectation. You could tell just being around them that they gel very, very well. And I remember one of our first meetings with him. He's also a personal person as well, telling us his whole life story in general. So I think he's got to be good for ASU and for this team.
There's some new faces in that running back room with you, and you and of course Cam coming back, George Kyson as well. But then you guys are Raleek, Jason Brown coming in. What are your thoughts on some of the newcomers that are joining you guys in the backfield?
Yeah, they're definitely gonna be some dudes. I met Raleek. Raleek's very fast, very shifty, just what everybody prioritized, like just being out there working out. He's really has a great first step. I haven't been able to see the freshman yet or anybody else like that yet, but like once they come in, I feel like they're just gonna add to our offense that we already have, and it's gotta be real dynamic.
With the power aspects that you guys bring. You mentioned the Raleek and his speed, just kind of a backfield that seems to have a lot of different skill sets and weapons in there. Overall, how dangerous can this group be? Especially when you have kind of some offensive masterminds and Coach Dillingham and Arroyo.
Yeah, I think just like the way we work and the way we have our expectations set up with Coach Aguano and what he preaches to us all the time, like we're gonna be honestly like one of the better backfields like in the conference or even college football, just the way that we approach every day just in the meeting room and on the field and stuff like that. We're usually like the strongest or the fastest guys like whenever we're in the room or on the practice field and stuff like that. So just being around those guys and being a leader as well, because I'm one of the oldest guys there. That's got to be one of my priorities, is just getting us there to that level.
This, of course, will be the first season in the Big 12. What are you excited about playing kind of some new teams, heading to some new stadiums, and just overall in some new experiences?
Yeah, it's a Big 12. It's a different conference. We're finally got to be like going to the Midwest and East Coast and stuff like that. Just different environments, different challenges, but we're gonna embrace it. We're gonna embrace all that comes with it and stuff like that. I feel like it's gotta be very exciting. It's definitely gotta be more publicity, just like opportunities for guys to show what they can really do on the field.
Any particular Big 12 road games that really kind of jump out to you about you're maybe a little extra excited to play at?
Definitely Cincinnati. Like I have a lot of family in Cincinnati, so that's gotta be one of the bigger games, especially this year. Yeah, that's gonna be.
So before that all happens, spring ball is just a couple of weeks away. What are some of the things that you personally want to be able to show your coaches that what you're able to do and kind of set the table for the rest of 2024?
Yeah, basically, my plan is just to go out there, start fast, start strong, make sure I know the playbook like the back of my hand, like have no type of mistakes whatsoever. That's my plan going in, and just showcase what I showed last year, just like on a whole different level with just experience and just wisdom of, okay, like he can think fast and he's able to play fast as well, stuff like that. We already know what he can do now. It's just implementing that with this new offense and starting out fast.
When you look ahead for this 2024 season, what are the things that you've set forth that you really want to accomplish, the team, individual goals, the things that you usually want to make sure that, when your time in maroon and gold is up, that you're able to do?
Honestly, I just want to leave a lasting impact on ASU football, lasting impact on this season, on the freshmen, on the young guys coming in, just like to set that culture, that standard on this is what it takes to win, and that we are going to win. I don't plan on going into the season with any sort of back of my head about last year's record. Like that's in the past. We're gonna build off of that though, and start winning some games, and be able to take my whole game to a whole nother level so I can make it to the next level.
I'd like to thank DeCarlos for taking the time to talk with me for this episode. I'd also like to thank Jeremy Hawks of ASU Media Relations. Make sure you are subscribed to Speak of the Devils on the podcast platform of your choice for more great sit-down series episodes featuring a wide variety of Sun Devil student athletes. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at bdenny29.